Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Today's case, we will be talking about Molly Mclaren, a beautiful young girl whose life was cut devastatingly short by her ex-boyfriend due to his rage, jealousy, and controlling behaviours. This case is a fairly recent one, and I remember the news of this case very vividly because when the information about this case came out, it completely blew up my social media pages. Now, I didn't know Molly personally, but a few of my friends that did say that she was a beautiful girl inside and out. I wanted to talk about this case because recently more news has come out surrounding it, and it is such an interesting case and devastating case because the police could have done more, which is what we hear in a lot of cases. But talking about Molly, I think, is very, very important because there was a lot of red flags, there was a lot of issues that potentially could have been solved by more information given by the police. And I think that talking about Molly is really important because it might help just one person in a toxic relationship see their own red flags, and it might save lives. Also, I think it's just important to talk about Molly because I tried to find information on this case and I didn't actually find that much. And it's so awful that we do seem to remember the killers and not the victims. And Molly was such a beautiful person, an intelligent girl. She had such a life ahead of her, and I think that her particular story is one that should really be more in the media, more discussed and remembered. So this is the tragic case of Molly Mclaren. Molly Mclaren was born on June the 26th, 1994 in Cobham in Kent. Her parents are Joanne Mclaren and Douglas Mclaren. Her parents described her as beautiful, kind and bubbly inside and out. Molly had struggled with anxiety and bulimia, and in her 20s decided to focus on mental health and helping others. Molly was an A-grade student in her second year of uni at the University of Kent, and she wanted to be a fitness instructor. Molly was very popular, she was incredibly kind, and she wanted to help others, so she started a fitness blog of motivational quotes and fitness posts. Molly was very kind, and she always wanted to see the good in people. She also wanted to use her previous illness of bulimia to help others fighting the disease.
I feel like I'm lagging. Everyone gets that bit. Just got to push through. It is not pretty.
Joshua Stimpson was a double glazing salesman from Rochester in Kent. Stimpson was referred to a mental health specialist when he was 12 years old. He felt that his mother had abandoned him after his parents got divorced and his father got full custody. As a teenager, Joshua Stimpson was an outpatient at a mental health clinic in Kent. He was prescribed antidepressants. In July 2016, Molly met Josh on Tinder. Molly was 23 and Josh was 24. They immediately had a connection and they spoke about anxiety and depression and their joint love of fitness. They had spoke for months, and in November they met and started dating. After 4 months of dating in March 2017, Molly wanted to end the relationship with Josh, seeing that he was overbearing. He would turn up to her house even when he was uninvited. But this was Molly's first serious relationship, and she told friends that she was falling for him. Friends and family felt on edge with him, like he had no interest in knowing the friends or the family. Molly's parents felt that he had no respect for her boundaries, and he wanted all of her attention all of the time. Molly felt suffocated, and she told Josh that she needed space. However, in response to this, Josh said that she was taking him for granted, and he threw constant insults at Molly. He manipulated her and said that he had bipolar, although he was never diagnosed. Molly had to consistently cancel her plans to see Josh if he had an episode of depression. He became incredibly possessive and they argued constantly. He also told her that even over her own issues, he needed her full and undivided support. Molly actually did tell Josh that it was over after he turned up to her family home consecutive days in a row. However, Josh was not happy that Molly decided to end the relationship. Josh kept messaging, he was begging. He blamed her anxiety and said that she was viewing the situation the wrong way. He completely gaslit her to believing that she was the problem. So unfortunately, Molly was convinced by Josh and she decided to give him another chance, and so they got back together. When they got back together, it actually started off really well. They got along well, they were going out together, they were enjoying the time together, and then very soon after, the problems occurred again. Josh's co-workers said that he had two sides. He had one very likeable and one very dark, irrational and withdrawn. In April 2017, and Molly is celebrating a birthday, there was an argument in the hotel room in which Josh and Molly shared. Josh decided to record Molly, and Molly was so upset by this that she was completely done with the relationship, so she ended it. Molly texted her mum to come to the hotel room, and Josh was in a huge rage. Joanne said that she was completely worried and saw severe red flags. However, Molly really wanted to give Josh one last chance. Molly and Josh decided to go on holiday. However, on the first day of the holiday, Molly texted home and said that she regretted it. She said it was a huge mistake and she no longer had feelings for him and wanted to end it. On the 17th of June 2017, Molly had plans to go to Maidstone, Kent with her friends for a 23rd birthday party celebration. It was a late celebration and she had been arguing with Josh for days before this. However, he came to the party. Josh had no plans to help Molly enjoy the evening, and he got in a severe mood. And by this point, Molly was truly and utterly done with Joshua, so she snapped in the middle of the club and told him that it's over. He then turned to her friends and said, "She's finished with me." Her friends then reported seeing his face and said that it was filled with pure rage, and it was the first time that they had seen this side of him. Friends and family knew he wouldn't take the breakup well, but they didn't expect what was next. He sent Molly a barrage of texts and insults, so Molly blocked him. Molly then received a call from her cousin saying that Josh was posting stuff on Facebook, claiming that Molly was dabbling with cocaine, and he posted private messages between him and Molly. He also then, with those messages, tagged her family members. He kept saying that she was addicted to cocaine, knowing full well how this would impact her future career. He also said that she was lying to her mum about this. Josh also tagged her in photos that weren't of her to reinstate this storyline that he was pushing. Molly was terrified as Josh had posted threats saying, "There's more to come." On June the 20th, behind the scenes of what everyone and Molly knew, Josh had been seen going to Asda and buying a paring knife. Then he went to Homebase to buy a pickaxe. On June the 22nd, Molly had printed out everything of evidence against Josh and went to the police with her mum. The police unfortunately didn't take this too seriously, but they did decide to phone Josh. The police then phoned Josh and said, "We wouldn't want Molly to come to the police station again about you, would we?" Josh then replied, "Wouldn't we?" The police ordered Josh to remove his Facebook posts. The police, however, did not take this seriously, and they said that this incident did not need Josh to get a criminal conviction or be deemed as harassment. On June the 23rd, Josh then turned up at the police station and he told them that Molly was spreading rumours about him being negatively involved with the police. Police then told Josh to stop all contact with Molly and to again remove the post that he made about her. On June the 25th, Molly had contacted the police again, saying that Josh had sent another message. The complaint was logged, however, the police officer dealing with the case wasn't in, so he couldn't immediately deal with it. On June the 27th, Joshua Stimpson takes the comments and posts down off his Facebook page. On June the 28th, Molly changed her name on social media. Molly then posted an Instagram photo saying Ship and Trades, which is a pub in Chatham. Molly didn't think that Joshua would be able to see this, as obviously she had blocked him. However, Molly goes to the pub with her friends and Joshua turns up with another girl. Molly thought this was an incredibly unlucky coincidence, and she told her friends not to engage or to worry and just enjoy their evening. Molly thought that Josh was being childish and creepy at the pub, and Josh was staring at Molly and her friends the entire time that she was there. Unfortunately, Molly didn't know, but it was found later that the girl that Josh had turned up with had been manipulated by Josh to friend Molly on Facebook and Instagram so that she could see the post that Molly was posting and any upcoming plans. Josh had misled her and told her that the reasons to stalk Molly were completely different to his actual intentions. This event at the pub was just 2 weeks after they had broke up. On June 29th, Molly posted what would be the last photo of herself with a cup of coffee. Molly saw the morning as just any other day, and as always, she went to the gym. Unfortunately, because Joshua and Molly had dated for a few months, he learnt her routine, and he knew that she would always go to the gym early, so Joshua decided to turn up on the hopes that he would see Molly. Molly is at the gym and she's doing her workout routine when Joshua enters the gym and comes upstairs to find Molly. He then places his mat down beside her and starts to work out. Molly then built up the courage to go and ask Joshua, "Why are you following me and why aren't you at work?" And he then replied to her, "None of your business." Molly was absolutely petrified because he had turned up the night before at the pub and now he was at the gym. She had texted her friends saying that he just turned up next to her, and her friends had told her that this wasn't right. Something was weird about this, that he had turned up the night before and now he was at the gym. They advised her to come home. When Molly then goes to the other part of the gym, she's texting her friends, not understanding at all how Joshua knew the location of where she was. She hadn't posted anything on social media and she hadn't told anyone that she was going to the gym. She was only in the gym to film fitness workouts for her university work. She then goes to another part of the gym to phone her mum. Her mum then tells her to come home. At this point, Joshua has now left the gym and gets in his car. He drove slowly around the car park a few times, waiting for Molly to leave the gym. At 11:08 a.m, and unaware that Joshua is behind Molly, Molly gets into her car, and before she can shut the door, Josh pulled the door open and stabbed her. Molly tried to fight him off, and she beeped her horn to get any sort of help that she could. A gentleman walking by the name of Benjamin Morton heard the ordeal and he ran to help Molly. He was desperately trying to pull Josh off of Molly. But because Josh had already stabbed Molly a few times at this moment, when Benjamin had tried to pull Josh from hurting Molly further, his hand slid because of the blood. Ben realised that nothing he could do would stop Josh, so he decided to slam the car door onto Josh's leg, but it didn't stop him. Josh then got into the car and locked the door so he could further stab Molly. Benjamin would later say in court that he was attacking her throat to ensure that she wouldn't survive. Molly was stabbed 75 times. Benjamin knew that he couldn't stop Josh, so he decided to drive his car in front of Josh's so he couldn't flee the scene. When the police came, Josh calmly handed himself to the police and said, "She's in there, I killed her." The ambulance, unfortunately, when they reached the scene, decided that Molly was DOA. When information and news came to social media, a friend saw a post about an attack at Chatham Dockside but didn't believe that it could be Molly, as Molly must have been home by now. Her friend then checked Molly's location on Snapchat and it said that she was in Chatham Dockside. Normally it only took Molly 15 minutes to get home, but Molly's mother just presumed that Molly was stuck in traffic. Molly's mother then received a text from Molly's friends about the attack at Chatham Dockside, and Joanne just knew that it was Molly. Molly's mother, Joanne, told Douglas, Molly's father, about the incident, that he was on a boat for work 100 miles off the coast. On the 23rd of January, in Maidstone Crown Court, Josh tried to push for manslaughter, saying that he had diminished responsibility due to his bipolar. Josh's defense team, with a psychiatrist, said that he was suffering a personality disorder. However, the prosecution also had a psychiatrist, and they disagreed, saying that he was completely responsible for his actions and that he was a narcissist. The jury rejected the claim of bipolar and his claim of diminished responsibility, and in less than 4 hours, the jury had made the sentence that he was guilty of murder. Andrea Dow came forward in the court. She was an ex of Joshua Stimpson, and she said that he stalked her and threatened to drown her. Another ex of Joshua said that he had spat on her in a club and waited for her to leave the club for hours. The judge in the case said that Joshua Stimpson didn't have a personality disorder, he just had a problem with women. It was found that Joshua Stimpson in previous relationships had spat in the face of his exes, he was completely controlling, used manipulation to get what he wanted, he stalked them, he used death threats, and they were reported to the police, but there was no more done about these particular incidents. There was also a time that he was found in the home of one of his exes, saying that he just needed to charge his phone, and this was just weeks before he started talking to Molly. In 2013, Alexandra Dale was a Tinder date, and she went on a date with Joshua, but she didn't feel a connection to him. She said no after just one date. He then bombarded her with texts and a picture of her back garden. He slashed her tyres and told her that there's a surprise waiting for you when you get home. He took photos of her and told her that she was a slut for what she was wearing. Dale had told the police 3 times, but not one was recorded as a crime. Police in this instance just told Stimpson via text to leave Dale alone. The judge said in court that Joshua was seeking revenge. "You are a highly dangerous young man. You will pose a considerable risk to women for a considerable amount of time in the future." Joshua Stimpson was sentenced for first-degree murder for life imprisonment and not considered for parole for 26 years. Since Molly's death, friends and family have set up a charity called the Molly Mclaren Foundation, which helps those with eating disorders. The community in Cobham now celebrate Molly's birthday with a festival called Molly Fest. The funds go towards the Molly Mclaren Foundation. At the first Molly Fest, £15,000 was raised. The families and friends now see Molly Fest as a hugely important festival, not just for the charity, but also to remember Molly for who she was and not for what Joshua Stimpson did. On July the 10th, 2018, Rochester Cathedral hosts a graduation ceremony for Molly Mclaren's year. And although Molly Mclaren couldn't receive her diploma herself, Rochester Cathedral's graduation ceremony has two very special VIP guests. They are Molly Mclaren's parents, who accept the award in her honour.
Most Honourable Chancellor, it is with great sadness that I now invite Doug and Joanne Mclaren to accept the award of Undergraduate Diploma in Sports and Exercise for Health, awarded posthumously to Molly Mclaren.
So that is the incredibly sad case of Molly Mclaren. This case is still very upsetting to me because she was beautiful, highly regarded in everything she did. She was intelligent and she just had a future of greatness ahead of her. I know that her friends and family are still suffering, and I don't think it will be something that they will ever get over. I think that by creating Molly Fest was such an incredible idea of the community and her friends and family. It's a way in which she'll be remembered and her life will go on to help those in need. The recent event was that Joshua Stimpson was sentenced to life and not considered for parole for 26 years. I don't personally think with his track record with women that he should be ever allowed out. I don't think the parole should be ever considered. He just has a problem with women. I don't know if that stems back to the divorce of his parents and him feeling resentment against his mum. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what is actually happening in his mind, but I don't think that he is anything less than a threat to society and therefore shouldn't be ever let out of prison. As always, my love goes to her family, her friends, and everyone else touched by Molly's story. If you made it to the end, a very special thank you to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my content. I hope you like what you see, and I hope this is as informative as it can be. There is an incredible documentary about Molly's story on YouTube for free. You can watch it easy and conveniently, and it is called Molly Mclaren, Killed by My Stalker, Series 1, Episode 1. It's a great look at Molly's story. It features her friends and their experiences with Joshua and Molly herself, and it just goes more in depth than I ever could. If you like true crime and spooky content, do feel free to subscribe. I upload a video every Friday, and I thank you for being here. For now, that is all from me. Thank you and goodbye.